Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts, community projects, and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We're going to start today's show with another roundup of EV sales data from around the world. And while some of these are automaker specific, some are general sales data points we think are worth sharing. We're going to start with the news that in the US last year, an incredible 1.3 million electric vehicles were registered, up 7.3% over 2023. Sales continue to remain strong through until the end of the year, with December enjoying the usual end-of-year sales spike as people cash in on tax incentives before the year's end. Meanwhile, in China, sales data shows new energy vehicles, that's electric, plug-in hybrid and fuel cells, sold 12.9 million examples last year. That's up 35.5% on the previous year. EVs accounted for the lion's share of NEVs sold by the end of the year, although I've been unable to get sources of data to agree on specific numbers. And that leads us to the news that globally, EV sales went up pretty much everywhere last year, other than in Europe. Data from Row Motion shows that EV sales grew by 3.5 million units last year, far larger than the 3.2 million vehicle increase EVs saw in 2023. Despite what pundits might have you believe, this does prove EV sales and the rate of EV adoption is on the rise. Now let's turn to brand-specific figures and the BMW Group, which showed that it sold 368,523. That's up 11.6% year over year. It sold just over 166,500 plug-in hybrids. Audi has confirmed that it sold 164,500 EVs last year, down 7.8% year over year when compared to its 178,400 units sold in 2023. Audi's sister brand, Volkswagen Passenger Cars, also published its details for 2024, with 383,100 EVs sold globally. That's down 2.7% on the 393,700 of the previous year. Skoda also saw a poor EV sales for last year, selling 79,600 EVs last year compared to the 81,700 of the previous year. That 2% drop follows the pattern of European EV brands selling fewer EVs last year while the rest of the world grew. But one Volkswagen Group brand that did well was Seat and its sibling brand Cupra. Combined, it saw a 6% increase in sales year over year from the 45,300 of 2023 to 48,000 in 2024. And finally, for the Volkswagen Group, Porsche had a poor year, selling 3.7% fewer EVs last year than it did in the previous year. While the Macan EV enjoyed a not too terrible start to sales, Taycan sales were pretty terrible, lowering Porsche BEV sales to 39,100. With poor EV sales from Europe out of the way, let's celebrate some good news for Rivian, which outsold all other electric vans in 2024, achieving 19,423 sales of its electric delivery vehicle last year. It outsold the Ford e-Transit and Mercedes-Benz e-Sprinter. While the global EV sales data I've just shared should reiterate that EVs are still popular and in demand, many politicians around the world, including those in the US, would like you to believe otherwise, using that as an excuse to roll back fuel efficiency and emissions standards. But a new survey from Consumer Reports suggests that the majority of Americans support stricter rather than looser fuel economy standards. It asked just under 2,200 adults about their opinions of better gas mileage, and 91% of the people it surveyed drove ICE vehicles. The overwhelming majority of respondents, 64%, said that the US government should continue to increase and implement tougher federally mandated fuel economy standards. And what's more, support for increasing economy and emission standards was split fairly evenly across party lines, making better fuel economy and lower emissions a bipartisan goal, something that many politicians seem to have missed the memo about. Ford says that it is in the process of investigating a terrifying ordeal involving a Mustang Mach E in which a 9-month-old baby was left trapped inside during hot weather after the doors failed to open. As reported earlier this week, a Ford Mustang Mach E owner had parked up and got out of their vehicle to charge in San Fernando Valley, California. In between getting out of the car and going back to the seat to retrieve her baby, the car stopped responding and the doors could not be opened. In the end, her husband was left to smash the window to gain access to the rear of the vehicle. Like so many modern EVs, the Ford Mustang Mach E has electronically operated door releases, and if the 12-volt accessory battery dies, those doors cannot be opened without first jump-starting the car using a special cutout in the front bumper. If you have an EV without mechanical door handles, it's important that you make sure you understand how to gain entry if something happens with your car's battery before something bad happens. As we've proven earlier in this show, EV sales around the world trended upwards last year, but sadly, so too did something else, a vandalization and cable theft from EV charging stations. If you're lucky, the damage is just frustrating, like the time I found an entire sausage smushed into the CCS handle of a charging station in Central Oregon. But sometimes that damage means that you can't charge, which if you're really unlucky could scupper your plans entirely. This week, Chargepoint unveiled its latest attempt to tackle vandals and thieves, announcing a new cable for charging stations that it claims are cut-resistant, along with a new charging station software designed to sound alarms if tampering and/or vandalism is detected. Chargepoint's video showing someone taking an angle grinder to its charge cable is impressive, and the software upgrades to enable its new Chargepoint protection system are due to roll out to new and existing charging infrastructure this month. Tesla has officially unveiled its newest iteration of its Model Y SUV, the Model Y Juniper. Similar to the Model 3 refresh of last year, the Model Y gets an almost complete reworking from the ground up, with new front and rear light clusters, a brand new interior, and cabin improvements. Interestingly, unlike the Model S, X, and 3, Tesla seems to have opted to keep a physical indicator stalk in Model Y, although the gear selector mechanism is shifted to the center console as it is in other vehicles. Tesla says the refreshed model has improved efficiency and acceleration, with the extended range all-wheel drive Model Y seeing just over a half-second cut from its sprint time. There's no performance version listed yet, but if you are in certain markets in Asia, Australia, or Aotearoa, New Zealand, you can now place an order for one with the outgoing Model Y available for heavy discounts. Tesla has confirmed Giga Berlin has also started making new Model Y variants, so expect additional availability in other markets very soon. And finally for the segment, Tesla's CEO has spent quite a lot of time in the last 6 months railing against the outgoing US White House administration, including its support for EVs through generous tax incentives. He's even gone on the record as saying he is in favour of repealing all EV and clean energy tax incentives, but this week the very same person was upset that Tesla didn't find itself the recipient of a federal funding programme to build a charging corridor for electric big rigs, posting, "Here we go again, sigh," end quote, in response to a user's post on X that said, quote, "Tesla snubbed for big rig charging again," end quote. Tesla's bankrolling CEO was unhappy that Tesla's application for $100 million out of a total $636 million of federal grant funds for electric truck charging was rejected. But then, since he's also mocked rival firms for applying for federal loans when Tesla itself benefited from them back in the 2010s, it's not exactly an unexpected emotional response. Our shorts are coming in a second, but first a word from today's video sponsor, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers across the US, and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. We used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers are professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of EnergySage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. If you choose to use an EnergySage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support this channel? It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for short shorts. Tesla has recalled a small number of Model S and X vehicles to address torn airbags inside affected vehicles. Just under 300 cars are involved in the recall campaign, which was caused by an assembly error during airbag manufacturing at Tesla's supplier. Tesla has substantially reduced its Cybertruck production team at Giga Texas in response to lower than anticipated sales. Some of the staff, we understand, have been laid off, while others have been shifted to Tesla's Model Y production line, which is soon expected to shift to making the new Tesla Model Y. Sean Duffy, the Trump pick to head the US Department of Transport, stated during his Senate confirmation hearing this week that he wants to charge EV owners extra money to drive on the nation's roads, but didn't say how he plans on levying those extra taxes. He also said that he's in favor of allowing NHTSA to continue investigations into Tesla's autonomous vehicle systems. Public Citizen, a US non-profit, has examined the election campaign donations of automakers during the last election cycle, and it notes that Toyota has increased its donations to anti-EV, climate-denying Republicans. Keep your eyes peeled for a long investigative piece from us on this early next week. A factory-standard Volkswagen ID.7 Pro S with no modifications has just set a new range efficiency record for Volkswagen. It covered a distance of 941 kilometres, 585 miles on a single charge on a closed test course in southern Italy. Kia, which was due to get Tesla Supercharger access this week, has confirmed a delay to the same. While Kia owners will technically have to wait to gain Supercharger access, some owners are reporting success by telling Tesla's app they're driving a comparable Hyundai model instead. BP Pulse has just signed a memorandum of understanding with XPeng that will see the two firms open up their respective charging networks to each other's customers. While this is still early days, if the deal goes ahead, more than 30,000 charging points will be covered by the agreement. Renault has officially opened the order books in the UK for the Renault 5 E-Tech. As part of its launch deal, Renault says R-Pass holders who order before the end of March and also finance their purchase using its financial services arm will get 3 years of free servicing. Canada has confirmed that its EV purchase incentive program has officially run out of funds. It was originally planned to run through until the end of March, but has proven so popular with citizens that the funds ran out by the middle of January. It is hoped additional funding will be approved after Parliament reconvenes. Amazon has ordered more than 200 e-Actra 600 electric trucks from Mercedes-Benz Trucks for use on the roads of the UK and Germany. The vehicles, capable of hauling up to 40 metric tons, will form the basis of a new zero-emission electric truck heavy haulage fleet for Amazon. US company Ace Green Recycling has been pretty busy of late, partly due to an impending IPO on the US stock market. But it's also announced a new lease agreement to build a new battery recycling plant in Gujarat, India. It will be the largest battery recycling facility in the country when completed. It's official. In addition to enjoying a strong end to 2024 for both its Mustang Mach E and F150 Lightning, Ford confirmed this week that its electric Mustang Mach E outsold the namesake of the same, the original gasoline-powered Mustang, for the first time in history last year. UK-based dynamic charging company Ohme has just celebrated giving customers more than £100,000 sterling in credits for using its dynamic demand-based charging system to reduce electrical grid demand. It's part of an ongoing winter crowdflex trial in partnership with Ofgem. BMW Group has announced it's working with SK Tes to establish a new closed-loop battery recycling system for used EV battery packs. It will recover cobalt, nickel and lithium from existing EV battery packs and is expected to enter into full-scale operation sometime next year. Prior to President Biden's departure from the White House, the US Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration has announced it's awarded $635 million to help fund more than 11,000 new EV charging stations and establish hydrogen refueling infrastructure across the US. Waymo has confirmed that it will be expanding its autonomous vehicle test fleet to Japan for the very first time. It will begin testing autonomous electric vehicles in Tokyo, utilizing a heavily modified Jaguar I-Pace EV. It's the first time Waymo has deployed in a left-hand drive country. Mercedes-Benz has confirmed that it will delay the launch of the long-wheelbase version of its upcoming CLA EV in China. The variant, designed exclusively for the Chinese market, will now launch in the second half of 2025, not the first, as originally planned. Hyundai has officially priced the Inster Cross EV for sale in the UK. Available from £28,745 sterling, it's a sportier, more aggressively styled variant of the already on-sale Inster EV. General Motors has confirmed this week that it's now using artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify the best places to deploy fast charging stations across the US. Suggestions are being generated after number crunching data from existing customers' trips. Hydrogen fuel cell truck company Hyzon has had a tough couple of years, and this week its board of directors voted to dissolve the company and liquidate its assets, pending shareholder and regulatory approval. It sent official statements to shareholders and regulators. In response to tougher regulations governing the purchase and use of electric bicycles in California, many e-bike companies are now designing software and hardware restrictions that can be applied to customers' bikes to ensure compliance with California law. In related news, the US state of Oregon is considering a new law that, like California's recent changes for Class 3 electric bicycles, would tighten rules on these higher-powered vehicles. In Oregon, regulators are considering banning Class 3 e-bikes from all cycle paths and trails. BYD has officially introduced its Atto 2 SUV to the European market, with sales due to start a little later this quarter. The official debut of the car will take place at the Brussels Motor Show, but it's clear BYD isn't feeling threatened by impending restrictions on Chinese EVs in Europe. The first Jeep and Dodge badged EVs are finally arriving at dealerships in the US. While Dodge didn't get great feedback from many auto journalists at the launch of the Charger Daytona EV, there are now some at US dealerships, and Jeep's started sales of its Wagoneer SEV. That said, if you're looking to buy a Charger Daytona EV in order to do burnouts, you might want to wait. This week we learned that the line lock feature, which disables the front motor and locks the wheels to enable a burnout, will only come in the SRT variant of the same car next year. Thanks to impressive sales figures around the world, the Hyundai Ioniq helped Hyundai break a new export record for South Korean-made EVs last year, exporting 68,227 Ioniq 5 examples. Hyundai has plenty to celebrate. Chrysler has confirmed that it's shelving plans for its long-promised electric crossover. Based on the Chrysler Airflow concept of several years ago, the brand, like the rest of its Stellantis-owned US siblings, has struggled to keep up with its grand EV promises. Acura, Honda's luxury performance arm, has confirmed that it will be bringing the RSX nameplate back to life as an EV. While details are very sparse right now, we do have this concept car image to go on, and we can expect to hear more on it in the coming months and years. Meanwhile, Toyota has confirmed that its BZ nameplate for EVs isn't doing a whole lot for the brand and will be disappearing. While the BZ4X is expected to keep its name during its life, Toyota says future EV models will be built around existing nameplates that are familiar to customers. EV startup Tilo Trucks has announced that it's entered into a partnership with Aptera that will see it use Aptera's composite solar electric panels on future pickup trucks. Aptera spent a lot of time and energy developing lightweight solar panels for EVs, and this partnership could help both firms. After a year of less than impressive EV sales, Audi has confirmed that it plans on offering more plug-in hybrid variants of its vehicles this year. Audi is just one of a number of European brands whose sales across Europe last year weren't as high as they'd hoped. Ford has confirmed that the F-150 Lightning will remain pretty much the same for 2025 as it was last year, with Avalanche paint replacing its space white metallic paint in its lineup. Interestingly, the 2025 models will keep their CCS rather than go to a NACS inlet. In order to avoid planned bans on Chinese source materials, General Motors has announced a new multi-year agreement with Vianode in Norway to secure synthetic graphite anode material for use in its EV battery packs. The deal will extend through until 2027. Rivian has patented a new heated headlight system that it says will help eliminate the problem of snow buildup on modern EV lights. Because most EVs now use LED headlights, they can't melt the snow from excess heat like halogen headlights of days gone old, hence the need for heated glass. Talking of patents, Ford has just applied for a new patent to make it easier to replace individual models in EV battery packs. The patent describes a system in which battery connectors and cooling systems quick connect to a fixed base plate. Rolls-Royce doesn't exactly rack up immense sales figures every year, but it's just confirmed that of its 5,712 vehicles sold last year, its Spectre EV was the most requested model in Europe and the second most popular globally. Livewire has announced an all-new model for its family of electric motorcycles, the S2 Alpinista. Built on the same platform as the Dalmar and Mulholland, it's built with a naked bike feel that's being promoted as a more hyper-touring-friendly ride. EV legend Mate Rimac is of course known for his engineering prowess and being the CEO of hyperluxury firm Rimac. But this week he confirmed in an interview that he has some serious love for the upcoming Rivian R3X. He told Apex Automotor that he'd buy one in a heartbeat. And finally, for the shorts, the annual Norwegian L-Prix winter range test has taken place. It does real-world winter range testing of EVs to see how close they get to their stated range. The Tesla Model 3 came in last place despite its largest claimed range, while the Polestar 3 came closest to its official WLTP test range. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That is exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today because it's 100% committed to investing in clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate can go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. It even offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And every sign-up supports this channel, so it means that we can help bring you the content you love. I'm a customer and I love knowing that I'm helping save money as well as making sure that my money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. As always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now it's time for those last two stories. In just a few days' time, the US will hold the inauguration of Donald Trump as the 47th president of the USA. But before that takes place, we've seen a rush of changes take place as outgoing President Joe Biden leaves his mark on the White House and administration. One of them, a new set of rules from the US Commerce Department, is effectively banning Chinese and Russian-made cars and trucks from being imported to the US. While there are already some pretty big restrictions into which vehicles can and cannot be sold in the country, there's been a lot of misreporting associated with this story, so as usual, we want to make sure we get the context right. First, the ban is on automotive hardware or software, including that used for communications or autonomous driving, from importing into the US. The ban doesn't cover software or hardware that's already been made, meaning existing vehicles that use Chinese or Russian-made tech can continue to be sold. The ban also doesn't come into full effect until 2029 for hardware and 2027 for software. Also, it's important to note that there are some loopholes and carve-outs, so if you'd like a more in-depth dive into that, let us know in the down below. And finally, we are all used to claims that EVs aren't all that good for folks who live in remote or rural areas, especially when the owner lives a really long way from a nearby service centre. But Subaru in the UK has just taken the first steps to prove that EVs can exist a long way from a dealership by sending a Solterra EV to the remote overseas UK territory of St Helena in the South Atlantic Ocean. The island is more than 1,200 miles off the southwest coast of Africa, and just getting there is a multi-day adventure. But Subaru has sent the Solterra there to help the island test out the suitability of EVs in the remote community. Utilising solar power generated on the island and charged by an easy charger that's just been installed, it's hoped the island's first Subaru EV will pave the way for the island to be zero emission in its transportation by the end of the decade. Subaru also says it's confident that the car won't need any service visits during its 2-month trial there, so we'll have to check back in about 2 months to see how it's doing. And on that note, we are done for the day. As always, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you who can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the links below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make that step towards energy self-sufficiency, either through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you're someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, good job. Well done. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please consider supporting us from $1.50 a month on Patreon or just under $13 a year if you pay annually. We are viewer supported because we believe the information we produce should be free for everyone. So if you support us, thank you. And don't forget too that we also have a swag store that you can view over at our swag store link down below. And there are one-off donations possible using Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or good old-fashioned checks. This year, I should also let you know that we're changing things up and publishing on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays on this channel. Plus on a Sunday, we're keeping our TE Take 2, informal, chicken and garden and Sunday musing. To finish, 2 things. Remember that you are valid, you are loved and you have a place in this world, even if some people are hell-bent on erasing your rights. Know that your existence is resistance and it makes it harder for hate to exist. So be inspirational, be yourself, be bold and do good. Don't let that hatred win. Second, I want to send again our thoughts to those caught up in the LA wildfires. I cannot imagine how it feels to be there, but if you are watching and you are able to help, I'm going to link to some places where you can donate money, food, and other things to help those displaced. So until next time, stay safe regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, be the positive change you want to see in the world. And please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. As always, keep evolving.